All right, greetings class and welcome to week number 7. That is right, week number 7 of your 9443 class, which is your academic libraries class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin. And what we are going to be doing today is a brief state of the course update, and we will follow that with just a few words about library spaces. We're not going to talk too long, but we are going to talk a little bit. Okay, so yes, we are first going to jump into this state of the course update. By the way, today's video really should take under 20 minutes, and I know I say that a lot, but this time around it really is. I promise it's going to happen this time. But let's go ahead and get into it so that we really do make it work this time. The first thing as far as state of the course update is to let you know that we will not have a check-in video next week. That is right, we will not have a check-in video next week because we have another sync session on October the 10th, which is a week from today. I'm recording this on the 3rd, and we will be seeing Julia Pluta of UMKC Libraries. And Julia is a law librarian, and she will teach us a little bit about law librarianship because technically, even though law librarianship is distinct from academic librarianship, it really is distinct. However, I will say that a lot of law librarians work for law schools, and a lot of law schools are attached to universities, which are academic institutions. So I do see the logical connection there, and I hope you do as well. And so, yes, I do think that you all will enjoy Julia's presentation. Julia's presentation is not so much, it's not the most, for lack of a better word, exciting information in the world. But the thing is, for one thing, a lot of people think that in order to be a law librarian, you have to have a JD, and that is not always the case. It is the case with quite a few law librarian jobs, and it's definitely preferred with most. But you can get law librarian jobs without having a JD. And then also, I know some of you do have JDs. So hey, if you got a JD and you think law librarianship might be for you, then listening to Julia may help you make that determination a little bit better and a little bit more informed. So I'm looking forward to having you all listen to Julia. Make sure you have a lot of questions for her, and also, yeah, well, just leaving it at that. Yes, Julia will talk about law librarianship next week, and it is a good thing for you all to know about. The other thing is that I want you all to be aware that on the 15th, so in approximately a week and a half, you do have your first written assignment due. That's not like a review of the website, which you've already done. But this is something that you actually will submit to me, and yes, you will have to have proper APA among other things. But yes, you will write approximately 1,000-word essay. And when I say 1,000 words, I really, there is a thing flying around me. I'm sorry, I'm not crazy and just hitting myself in the head. When I say 1,000 words, I really do mean try to keep it at 1,000 words. I think some people have thought, reading this in the past, that I meant 1,000 words minimum. No, I don't. I mean, keep it at around 1,000 words. If I make a prompt for roughly 1,000 words and you type up something with 7,000 words in it, and I've had that happen several times, you're going to lose points because I have to read your 7,000 word submission, and I asked for a 1,000 word submission. And so, yes, if you're creating more work for me, I am probably going to deduct points from you. So that is just a fair warning. Be aware of that. Try to keep this essay around 1,000 words. Okay. Now, going a little bit over is not a problem. Like if it says about 1,000 words and you turn in something with 1,500 words or 1,200 words, yeah, that's not a problem. But some people really have gotten egregious with that. And at some point, I'm going to be like, hey, I've got a whole bunch of other ones to read. You are really creating work for me, and I am going to punish you for it. So yes, about 1,000 words. Keep it in that range, okay? All right, so you'll see the prompt here. You're basically, this is basically dealing with a kind of made up academic library's dilemma, but respond to the prompt, do the best that you can based on the reading. Make sure that your arguments are sound. You do need to cite sources. You are in grad school, so yes, cite sources, cite sources, cite sources. If you turn in something that does not cite anything, I will count off for that as well. And I say use a citation style. So if I'm saying use a citation style, then that means that you will need to cite stuff. That is what comes along with using a citation style. Okay. So those are really the only two state of the course updates that we really needed to get into at this time. Everything else we can kind of wait, because we don't really. I've said this before and I'll say it again. This course has a lot of reading in it. I understand that it has a lot of reading, but it doesn't have a lot of work. It doesn't have a lot of things that you have to submit. And really that is the case for Academic Libraries class. I'm not going to create busy work. I am giving you readings that I feel are readings that are going to be beneficial for you to make a determination as to whether or not academic librarianship is for you, and if so, what branch of academic librarianship is for you. But having said that, if I started creating a bunch more assignments, that would just be busy work, because there's really not a lot of assignments that will test competencies in a class like this. This is more so an informational class to give you some overview of academic libraries and challenges and working with them, trends and working within them, and so forth and so on. Okay. All right. So yes, let's leave it there, and then let's talk a little bit about library spaces. All right. So what I'm going to try to do is put the link to this in the announcement as well, so that you can kind of look at it directly. But library spaces, I just want to say a few things, and again, it's not going to take a whole heck of a lot of time. You can read this little blog post if you want, once I put the little URL in the announcement. And then also, if I forget to do that, which I hope I don't, but if I forget to do that, you can just kind of Google this title, or you can plug in the URL from there, whatever the case may be, and you can be brought to this blog entry. And it's a very short blog entry. It's going to take you like 2 or 3 minutes to read, not very long at all. Okay. But the main message of this is that a lot of academic libraries are devoting less of their space to collections, to books, and to journals, okay? Less and less of that space is being devoted to that these days. And so especially for those of you who have been out of college for a while, like let's say that you went to, like for me for instance, if you're a contemporary of mine, I finished undergrad in 2005, okay? So that's been almost 20 years ago when I finished undergrad. I finished undergrad in 2005, and when I was in undergrad, a lot of our academic library space was still mostly devoted to books and to journals. And in the 18 years that have occurred since, I have not been back to my own campus, but I do know from hearing from other people, and I know that this is the case at most other academic libraries as well. They are doing away, especially with a lot of these print journals. They're getting rid of those and making journal articles, things that you retrieve through e-resources and online and through interlibrary loan and that sort of thing. So they're devoting less of that space to the print journals, and some academic libraries aren't even subscribing to print journals anymore, or they're only subscribing to a very few, okay? And that is to save space. And then books, even books, are a lot of times being sent to off-space storage. For those of you who are in the Metro KC area, if you want to, you can come to UMKCU's campus and ask the librarians at Miller Nichols Library about the ask the academic librarians about what they call the Rubot, and it is this thing, and they'll actually take you back there to see it if you ask. But the Rubot is this storage mechanism where there are millions and millions of holdings in this little place in the back on UMKC's campus. And this Rubot thing, it actually goes and they can request a book through the system, and the Rubot goes and it goes through. This thing is like 4 stories of storage, but the Rubot will go and actually find a box containing the material you want and bring it right back to this sort of like dock area, and then you take this box. In the box would again include the material that you wanted. You open it, you get that material, and you put the rest of the box back on the Rubot, and the Rubot will take the rest of the box back to where it was stored. So you are seeing, and I am saying Rubot, by the way, because kangaroos are the UMKC mascot. So Yeah, I'm saying robot and not robot on purpose, just in case anybody's like, yo, Dr. Jace can't even talk. He can't say robot. I can say robot. It's just that this thing really is called the robot. Okay. All right. So all of that to say, yes, storage is something that gets we are holding a lot of physical materials in storage and not in the library proper these days, not just at UMKC and not just at Mizzou, but at a lot of academic libraries throughout the country. Okay. And so they are replacing those things with, they're replacing in the place of where the books and the journals used to be. A lot of times they are doing other things. You'll see like additional study spaces, group workspaces. Some places are actually putting in like other decorations or exhibits in those places, and exhibits are good. I'm probably going to have an exhibits check-in video at some point this semester talking about exhibits in academic libraries. But yeah, this that space would be where exhibits would go if you have traveling exhibits and you bring them to the academic library. Sometimes they put coffee shops in those areas, or they put vending machines in those areas. But, you know, all of that to say that space is getting replaced. And instead of having books and print journals in those spaces, they are offering the books and the print journals in other through e-resources, and they are repurposing that space to be used by students in other ways. So let's talk about some of these advantages that they talk about really quickly. And again, I am going to have a link to this article in the announcement. So, or a link to this blog. So, electronic books and journals present distinct advantages for libraries from a staff point of view. E-resources are accessible immediately upon purchase, so you don't have to wait for them to be shipped to the library. You don't have to catalog them and do all the processing once they come in. Oh, actually, well, that was the next thing. They require less processing time since there's no need to unbox, stamp, and label the items. They don't require the maintenance of print books such as reshelving or rebinding and all of those repairs. Advantages to library users as well. Ebooks and e-journals are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can access them by logging in. You don't really need to go to the physical space and check them out. You can view these things remotely. These materials are accessible from anywhere. I keep jumping ahead. At the convenience of the user, so students can complete research from the residence hall, from the coffee shop, from the classroom, wherever they may be. Saving printing and emailing in electronic articles is easily done. It can be kind of cumbersome to have to like scan stuff and like scan book pages and that sort of thing. So you can bypass that step. And then ebooks and e-journals offer a robust search function, and that does come in handy. So like I've known researchers who they prefer the e-version of a book because then they could do, you know, the Control F and find the certain text that they needed and so forth. All right, so those are things to keep in mind, and I hope you will keep them in mind. And again, I'm going to paste this for you all in the announcement. But yeah, there's really no need to even go beyond that because you all can read this for yourselves. But yes, that is one of the many things that may not get a lot of space in your textbook, but is still something to keep in mind as you are going through your academic librarian career, is what to do with library spaces. And for those of you who end up working in academic libraries, that is a conversation that is going to come up more than once. Okay, and your space is always going to be evolving, especially in these days. And I'm sure artificial intelligence is going to even more so make things evolve. But that is good enough for us right here. I am Dr. Jace, and don't let your physical holdings vanish without a trace just because you are going to e-resources. Maybe keep them in storage. They can still be useful for various reasons. Okay, that is it. That is my time. I am out. See you next week in the sync session.